and they did so with such speed and noise that when the door clanged open, the harlequin screamed like she could wake the dead.
I feared this.
What? I thought as the guards unlocked the door to the cell. The girl was still screaming like a banshee.
They've gotten suspicious.
One of the guards came in and slapped the girl, stopping her screaming but reducing her to a blubbering mess on the dirt floor. Do they think we're all...
Normal? Unfortunately. And I've watched proceedings of the like before. I have yet to think of a way out of one.
The guards ushered us out the door and into the settlement's open area where a crowd had gathered.
I believe someone stumbled in on the sleeping guards. This isn't good.
The three of us were led up to a platform and made to stand as the settlement leader blabbed on and on about normalcy and the grace and power of an almighty God. One of the guards pushed the girl forward during the leader's rant. The leader turned his attention to the girl and began some bullshit religious jargon I don't care to remember. But I wasn't listening to him. I was listening to Fox.
There's only one way out of this, David, and you're going to have to listen to what I say and do it. No questions asked.
I agreed.
Good. Now the two of us...
What about...
The female is a lost cause. Without her master mentally instructing her on what to do, whether it be to sleep, follow her master, eat, or piss, she's as brainless as an animal. They're currently analyzing her for signs of unnormalcy.
In reality, the man had stopped his ranting and was now looking the girl up and down. She trembled in the guard's strong grasp as the leader turned her head to the side and displayed her mark to the crowd, who began to boo and hiss.
And that's sign enough for them. She's as good as dead. My only hope is that in educating one of you ferals, you can start to see the mistakes in how you live.
The speaker pulled out a knife from his belt. It was a wickedly curved blade that looked more like something made for deboning an animal. I realized what was going to happen, and that Fox wasn't going to do anything about it. Flaws in how we live? What about your kind, your high elites, forcing people to live lives set for them? No freedom, no free will. You care nothing for the common man. I turned to glare at Fox while I thought this. The guard behind me actually grabbed me. I guess I was close to throttling him.
I guess I deserve that. But if anyone is going to get you out of this, it's going to be me. So listen well.
I found it hard to pay attention for the next couple of minutes because of the resulting rage his comments had created. I watched the guard holding the girl thrust out her arm, palm up. The leader was saying something about the blade being purified by God, and with its blessing, any unnormal one cut would bleed and survive to be given needed punishment for their sins.
Never mind the fact that the cut will kill her anyway. The crowd is here for blood, and they'll get it. And from all three of us if you don't start paying attention to me.
Tears came to my eyes as I saw the blade run across the girl's wrists. Blood began to pour from the wound to the cheers of the crowd. The girl refused to stand anymore and was being held up by the guard, crying and screaming in unintelligible terror, having no real idea what was going on. Not even her coming death. The crowd was still cheering as the speaker murmured something about her pure soul being received by this just God. His gaze shifted to Fox. A malicious smirk spread upon his face. No wonder you call us feral. What do you need me to do?
Just be ready to run and get our possessions when I say.
Fox was looking at the crowd and closing his eyes as the speaker motioned for the guard to drop the woman on her own spilled blood. I saw a tear run down Fox's cheek.
Now! Run!
Suddenly, Fox began to glow, causing those on the platform to take a step back and the guard holding me to let go. The crowd gasped and took a step back. He turned to face me, his eyes now open and glowing fiercely yellow.
I said run!
An inhuman snarl emitted from Fox, and the crowd screamed and yelled and took off running every direction. I started to run back to the cell house to get our belongings. I had to push through hordes of people. I heard a howl behind me and glanced over my shoulder. Fox was no longer standing on the stage. A large, red-furred, canine-featured monstrosity stood in Fox's stead and snarled at the people. I reached the cell house and ran inside, grabbing my pack, Fox's, and the journal. I ran back to the door, bag slung over my shoulders.
Go to the left, towards the gate.
I quickly obeyed, catching the sight of the monstrosity jumping from the stage and beginning to bound in the same direction. I froze. Surely this monster would eat me alive.
David, it's just me.
I looked at the thing again, and for a split second I could see through it, at Fox on the inside, looking at me with a roguish grin on his face. Then it was the fox monster again, howling out a path through the people for me to follow it through. We made it outside to the settlement when I heard a bang behind us. I glanced over my shoulder to see a guardsman lower his gun, and the monster miss a step and vanish, leaving the all-too-human fox running behind me, clutching his arm. We ran for what seemed like hours until I heard him fall behind me. I stopped and turned, dropping the bags and stumbling towards him, but there was little I could do.
I told you to get out of there.
I didn't know how to react. I just nodded and began to examine his arm. There was nothing I could do. He'd lost too much blood during the run, and we both knew it. I'm sorry.
Don't be. My studies were over. I just needed to find someone to share them with.
But why me?
You didn't seem like the rest. Maybe it was something about your wandering nature that made me think you would understand more than those close-minded fools, having been in so many settlements beforehand. Just do me one more favor.
I nodded.
Close your eyes.
I did, surprised to feel a bit of moisture fall into my cheek. Fox slipped his hand wet with blood into mine and grasped it tightly. Suddenly, there was a mass of images racing through my mind. Memories, names, places, feelings that weren't mine. They were distinctly Fox's.
Now go and create your own settlement, or find one less harsh than the ones we have seen. Remember this day, and remember the journal.
I felt his grip on my hand loosen, and opened my eyes to look at him. He exhaled one last time, and everything was quiet. It's been 2 whole seasons, and I have yet to find such a settlement, but I will. I know it's possible because everyone fears things they don't know about. I'm looking for the ones that wonder and live with no fear of the unknown. Signed, David Fox.